over a top 6 team.
Yeah, good domination.
Joining us right now, we said Coach Close is a new friend of ours.
Yeah,
Here's an
close
old friend.
personal friend.
Yeah, close personal friend. From UC Santa Barbara, and before that, the Sticks. Kayte Christensen, analyst for your Sacramento Kings. Good morning, Kayte.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Let's see. What do we have for you? Oh, yeah. Is your Halloween stuff all taken down?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
We were correct.
Yeah.
When are you putting up your Christmas stuff?
Honestly, I don't know.
You don't know?
When I have time, when I get back. I don't know.
I thought it'd
leave
be after
tomorrow,
the trip.
obviously.
Yeah. Jason said after the trip. So.
Yeah.
Also, we had Coach Close on Monday.
Yes.
We asked her to spill the tea on young Kayte. And
There were some.
She was complimentary, but I know. But
I'm sorry. You must have hated that.
I was very not happy with that part. She talked about how they went to find you to recruit you, which, as you know, is basically left at the barn, past the sheep field, and over the sticks. I did ask her if there was some sort of a livestock trade or something. Like how they had NIL then. They didn't really, but no, it was a legit recruiting. But then she mentioned, and I'm curious if you remember this, that you kind of pulled a prank on them the day that you signed. Do you remember that?
Oh, I think there was one. I can't remember exactly what happened. Did she tell you the story?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I don't remember.
Jason?
Basically, it was, and I'm going to have the coach's name or the head coach's name wrong, but you had basically already committed maybe the night before, earlier that morning, and they were there to close the deal on recruiting you.
Right.
And this is her words, Kayte. She said, "Man, Kayte was being a real spoiled brat and not paying attention to us." And then we're just going through the whole runaround all day, and then by the end, you're like, "Guys, I already committed. I'm in."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think Coach French, who was our head coach, had worked something up to mess with them, which you know him. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So that got us talking about pranks.
Wow, I didn't like this.
Oh gosh.
I feel for you on this one, Kayte. I didn't like it. I didn't know this full story.
So Jason somehow didn't know the full story, and Kyle, who's behind the glass here, little Kyle, had no idea. We talked about how we got you with the with Dave Yeager as the GQ.
Yeah, for sure.
and then Yeager came on, and we talked about
that. That one was okay. The other one I did not like.
And then I played about a minute of the Sean Salisbury fight on your last day on the show.
Jason, you didn't know about that?
No, I knew about it. I don't think I had heard it. And so then Dave played it, and I could hear the panic / frustration in your voice, and I was with you. I'm like, what? I knew it was obviously already been done. It's been a prank, but you hated it.
It was wildly uncomfortable. Yeah.
Okay, so then when it's done, Kayte, how many times did you punch Dave?
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I'm pretty sure you physically struck me at the break, but I couldn't remember, and it wouldn't have been the first time.
I absolutely did. Yes,
did you get him good, though? Several good hits?
Dude, let me tell you something. Dude, this woman can hit. The amount of times, and she knows exactly how to do the knuckles on the shoulder so that it gives you the Charlie horse, and it
You
sucks.
deserved it.
I'm not saying I didn't. I'm not saying it wasn't worth it.
But you were trying to break up the fight on air.
Yeah, she was.
Yes, it was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. And you know what? It's just like after when I found out it was a joke, I'm like, this is why I'm leaving.
Well, the funny thing is that really when I hadn't listened to that clip in a very long time, and I thought, you know what? That was pre-mom Kayte. Like, you heard it in the voice. She was basically like, guys, come on, guys, seriously. And then I think you told me, didn't you tell me during the break, you were like, I was this close to running out of the room because I just didn't know what to do.
I was so uncomfortable, yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was a great joke. Now,
of course you did. It was your joke.
Now, lastly, I'd explained.
Did she get you back?
Let's just put it this way: maybe not on pranks, but however you want to call it, teeter-totter on times I've got versus her is like 74 Kayte to me.
Is that true, Kayte?
I don't know. I'm too old to remember.
That's true. So, lastly, though, I had to warn the guys. Do you remember the funniest part of that whole prank might have been Scott Pollard's roar right when we all started laughing? Like we forgot he was there because he was kind of trying out to see if he would be your replacement. Do you remember when Sean and I started laughing? And you remember Scott going, like he was laughing, but it was like a roar.
I completely forgot about that.
Right. That was jarring out of nowhere. Where's this voice coming from?
Oh, let me see. Ooh, I got it. It wasn't a roar, but it was a stern set of comments from Doug Christie.
Oh, there you go.
You like that? Before the game yesterday, I'm sure you know by now, but Kayte, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kayte wasn't there or didn't have to work the game.
Oh, that's right. So apologies. Have you seen Doug's comments?
I have not seen Doug's comments.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys have gathered, but I've been very sick for the last couple days. So, I've been a little bit out of it.
Are you a game time decision tonight?
Ooh.
No, there's no injury report or anything for us. Jason, we just work.
You're in.
Do Kyle, do I have to do the thing where I put her on hold so she can hear the thing, or can she can hear him? Okay, all right. I'm going to play a little bit of this, Kayte, and then I want you to tell me if you can hear it or not. Here's Doug from last night.
Good evening. Good evening.
Do you hear that?
Yep.
Okay.
Some of you guys, I think everybody in here knows me. If you don't, my name is Douglas Dale Christie. I'm head coach of the Sacramento Kings. Okay? Change is hard, y'all. It's hard. But understand, and we understand, that we're not there yet. But we about to work at it like crazy. We totally get that. And it'll be bumpy. It will. Because change is like that. But buckle up. For the real ones, buckle up. And for all the rest of you, you know who you are. You know how I feel about that. We, and I say we as an organization, make no mistake, we're aligned in what we're doing. We are aligned in what we're doing. I said this before. You've heard me. I'm going to say it again. We're going to play to a standard. That's what we're going to do. Tough, competitive, disciplined, professional, team-oriented, and accountable. That's what we're going to play to. So when you look out there, everybody in this organization is held to that. Now, as an identity, that's defend, rebound, and share the damn basketball. That's what we're going to do every single time we hit the floor. So the pain of Kings fans, there's nobody that sat in this seat with the exception of two people, Rick Adelman and probably Jerry Reynolds, that understand the pain of Kings fans. So know that as I sit here, who experienced that pain with those men, we're going to get it right. We're going to work every damn day to get it right. So when I see the hate, the haters, the fakers, all you guys, you keep that energy. That's good. You keep that. And you know who you are. Because while you doing that, we're going to be working. And while you doing that, we're going to be growing. And while you do that, eventually, we're going to be coming. The King Show. Sac proud. Know that.
He did not take questions after. The pounding you heard at the very end of the table was him getting up just to get the visual. Any part of you surprised that Doug would be that passionate and that direct?
No, not at all. I mean, I think I've known Doug for a long time, obviously, because he's worked on our broadcast for a long time. I wasn't here when he played. I didn't see him ever play in person or on TV, nothing. I know about him as a player. I've seen plenty of highlights. I know from working with him over the last several years, like who he is. And I can say that I've never been around a coach that is more impacted by losing than Doug. Like, it keeps him up at night. It's something that, you see each other on the road in the meal room and, how you doing, Doug? How do you think I'm doing? He's very, very honest, very direct. Like, he has a standard and he's trying to do something, and this is something that he has wanted for so long, and specifically wanted here in Sacramento, because, you know, when you look at Doug's career, he kind of went all over the place, but it was Sacramento that he really started to thrive, and his value was seen, and he started to accomplish the things that as a player he was trying to accomplish. And so I'm not surprised at all that. I know that everything that is said, you know, Doug hears, he's aware of it. And I think the hardest thing when you're trying to completely reset, and when I say reset, you guys have talked about it on your show about how many times has there been a rebuild. I'm not talking about a rebuild. I'm talking about like a reset in cultural mentality. And Doug is very much the type of person that is trying to do it from that mindset point of view, if that makes sense. Not from a roster point of view. Not, you know, the roster he has is the roster he has. Yep. And I think we're all very aware of the fact that, you know, it's difficult for a front office and a brand new coaching staff to take over a roster that wasn't built by them. And so he has a set of standards, and he has a mentality that he is trying to implement, and not even just implement. He's trying to like brand it on these players, like, you know, personas, their mentality. So I'm not at all surprised. I know, like I said personally, that this has been a rough start for Doug because of what personally he's trying to do here. So I'll be honest with you guys. I have not watched the game. I slept all last night. I'm going to sit down and watch it right now. But, you know, I saw the score, and I can imagine. I know third quarter going into the fourth quarter that it was a closer game, and then obviously it did not work out. But, yeah, I'm not at all surprised.
You know, Kayte, wanted to ask you kind of about one of those things that's hard to quantify, and you mentioned culture. We know Doug has mentioned it, Scott Perry has mentioned it, and that's kind of a goal that they want to get to by the end of the year, no matter if that's a 50-win team or a 10-win team, that they want to establish something going forward. I don't know in your experience how you get there, but to me, it's a little equivalent to chemistry. You know when you don't have it. If you've got it, then it's there, but it's kind of apparent when you don't. How do you know when you've kind of reached that, hey, this is the culture that this team, or the Kings in this case, want to get to?
I mean, that's a really tough question, Jason, because it's so different with it's about like the players, right? And I think so much, and rightfully so, we're very obsessed with stats and like all of these things that are like stat driven that people understand. We can understand stats. We can look at a stat sheet. We can look at averages. We can look at what players do on a stat sheet or in analytics, and it helps a lot of people understand. But the things that they're trying to implement here are not stat driven. Not how many assists you have. It's not, you know what I mean? It really is very much more about like a mentality that someone has. And you guys watch Doug play. You understand what that means. Doug had a mentality as a player. Bobby Jackson had a mentality as a player. You know, Chris Webber had it was something, it's like when you see it, you know it. And so I think that, you know, I think you building like chemistry as a team, it's difficult because you need absolute buy-in, and I will say this though, I've never seen on any of the teams that I've covered, and I've covered a lot of teams for the Kings, the amount of talking that goes on with these guys. And, I don't know if you guys notice it, like even like, you know, going to the free throw line and they all come together, the amount of conversation that they're having as a group, individually, when you have like, you know, 2 or 3 guys talking to each other when something goes wrong, in practices, like the amount of conversation, not even just between players, but between players and coaches, like trying to figure things out where players actually have input. A lot of times it's like there's, you know, you have your game scout, you have your game plan, you're going over it in practice. And I've never really seen players stop and give input and have the coaches actually listen and then come to a conclusion, because you have to be able to do it together, right? Because the players are the ones that have to go out and execute a game plan. And I've never seen there be like an actual conversation and input and coming to it together. And that kind of all goes to what Doug is trying to do in terms of building chemistry. And because he's going to be really rough on players, he's going to be brutal, he's going to be, demanding of what they do and hold them to high standards. He also has to be able to have it so that they feel that they can have a conversation about it with him. So it's nearly an impossible question to answer for me, Jason, and which is probably why I'm on this side talking about games, and they're on the other side trying to actually execute it.
How frustrating must it be, Kayte, for a Doug or a Bobby? You and I both love cooking, and I love cooking analogies, but, if you tried to make a milkshake out of a filet mignon, it wouldn't taste good regardless of the ingredients. I say that all the time. You can't ask a cow to meow. So how frustrating must it be from Doug's perspective or Bobby's perspective, perhaps, or maybe even Mike Woodson or any of those other guys too? They're saying it, they're drilling it, they're talking about it, I'm sure, in practice, but just not knowing whether it's an effort thing or a heart thing, something that can be adjusted, or if it's just straight up a skill thing and there's only so much you can do.
I'm sure it's frustrating. Yeah, it's got to be frustrating, but this is also, we have to keep in mind that, the players are out there doing their best. You know what I mean? They're not trying. They're not listening. There's limitations with what, each and every one of them can do as a player. And the thing about coaching is recognizing limitations and trying to push players and teams past limitations, right? And that goes to the conversation of the mentality, right? Mm-hmm. As athletes, we all have a certain set of skills, but we're all capable of more than we think we are. And you're never, that's every facet of life, really. Sometimes it just takes someone to push you to make you realize that you're capable of more than you even thought. But like I said, this is the thing. This is a rough start to the season, and record-wise, all of it. We also have to keep in mind that, this is by far the hardest schedule of any team playing to start the season. And that's tough. That's tough with injuries. That's tough with losing. But, I truly do believe that these are moments that it forces you to grow, right? It forces you to deal with the adversity. And I do think, that those things make you better in the long term. But it's hard not to get stuck, like we all kind of are, in this very kind of deep, depressing, reality that, the results are not what everyone wants them to be.
Kayte, I want to ask you about a specific player, and now that we've seen him for, a handful of games and after a brief camp, but Russell Westbrook. And look, there's some times in a game where you go, wow, why did you do that, or what happened there? But by the end, it just feels like we know he plays so hard. He's so relentless. It feels a bit contagious, and he has an impact basically in every game. I'd just be curious. You've watched him. You had a chance to analyze games. What have you seen from Russ and his role with this team?
Well, I've obviously watched Russ play for pretty much almost the majority of his career. I think his rookie year, it was his second year in the league. That was my first year covering the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. So I've watched him, through everything in his career, his MVP seasons, his triple-double seasons, everything. And I've always been utterly fascinated by him as a player because of what he does. But I haven't watched every single game he's played in, game after game after game after game, where you really get to see it. I've been, wildly fascinated by him because he obviously is in the latter end of his career, and yes, he makes mistakes, but what he brings is just it's incalculable, because when you look at the mistakes, again, those are things that go on a stat sheet, so on and so forth, but his IQ is so incredibly high. how he fouls, when he fouls, his ability to guard multiple positions, his willingness to do it to keep other people out of foul trouble. Like when he came in the second half against the Bucks and guarded Giannis, and that was Domas's matchup, and he's like, no, like we can't have you in foul trouble. Like we need you. But when I talked about the communication earlier, like I just challenge you guys, if you're at a game, I don't think it comes across on TV because a lot of this stuff happens, at commercial, when they're in timeouts and that kind of thing. Like everybody is coming up to him and talking to him, and everybody looks to him for information. And he really knows how to get things out of players. And his mentality, I will say, is the closest to what Doug is seeking out of his team. And it's about an identity. And so he has been, I think, incredibly valuable to this team. And like the impact throughout the season, I think will begin to be able to, it'll be more measurable in a way as, his time here. And yeah, I don't care about turnovers or things like that, because I've always thought that when players are playing hard 100% of the time that they're on the floor, they bring you more than the mistakes take away. And if they're playing at 100%, their turnovers at 100%. Like I'll take that over, kind of the half whatever, I don't think I can say it on air. I think I've gotten in trouble for that multiple times, but I think we all know where I'm going with that. Like there's no, what he's going to give you 100% every single time he's on the floor. And to me, that's incredibly important for them to have on this roster right now.
Last question for you, Kayte. Do you still have one of your famous Ziploc bags of rotisserie chicken pieces in the freezer?
Yes.
So chicken broth, some carrots, onion, maybe a leek. If you have that lying around, whatever. Remember, since the chicken's cooked, don't put it in right away. It'll get rubbery. Chicken soup, stay warm, and thanks for coming on, because you did great, but I can tell you're on the struggle bus right now. So get that chicken soup.
Well, I appreciate your chicken soup help. We do leave on a road trip tomorrow for, I don't know, like 10 or something days, so I won't be making chicken soup, but I do have some nice broccoli cheddar that I had for dinner last night, so that'll have to suffice.
It's not going to help a cold.
I'm so sorry. It did feed me and give me some form of nutrients, so I'll take it right now.
All right. Well, that's Kayte Christensen getting limited nutrients and suffering through a cold before a 10-day road trip. We appreciate you. Feel better, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys.
All right. That's Kayte. We'll take a break. We'll come back. What's on Deck brought to you by Trex Decking and Railing. There's a lot on deck tonight.